Who is going to stand and deliver this Saturday for NXT's premium live event on WrestleMania weekend? We've got some big matches we're going to be talking about today, including the NXT Championship for the men's division, Oba Femi defending against Trick Williams and Javon Evans. And we've got the women's NXT Championship on the line in a fatal four-way. Stephanie Vaquer, the champion, going against Giulia, Jordynne Grace, and Jaida Parker. We have also got a six-man tag with the D'Angelo family going against Dark State. We've got the North American Championship on the line. Ricky Saints going against Ethan Page. We've got a vacant women's North American Championship going to be actually crowned on this show. 6 women in a ladder match. As you can see there, Zaria, Sol, Ruca, Izzy, Dane, Kelani, Jordynne, Lola, Vice, and Thea Hell making a return this past week on NXT. We've got Fraxiom defending the tag team championships against Hank and Tank. And we'll be kicking things off in a moment with our kickoff match, which will be 4 tag teams going for the number 1 contendership for the women's tag team titles next Tuesday on NXT, including Fatal Influence, Roxanne Perez, Cora, Jade, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson, and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Hi, welcome to the video. My name's Steve. I'm joined by NXT. We're in a hot seat and we're going to be giving our predictions for Stand and Deliver. NXT, welcome to the show. I suppose the first question I should ask you is your excitement levels for Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, pretty good, surprisingly. Even though I know WrestleMania is double the amount of matches, basically, I think that the build for this entirely has been very good. I think apart from the number 1 contenders tag team match, I think everything else has been a very solid build.
Yeah, there's certainly been some solid build throughout all out. I mean, I would say I think the NXT Women's Championship picture, even though it's actually been that it's rounded off with the 4 women, I do think we've had a bit of strange booking and places to get where we're at. But still, I understand they want to get everybody on the card, and there's a lot of multi-person matches on this show. But again, to get people on the card when people worked hard all year round is kind of a good thing. So I'm with you. Some levels are quite high for me. I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10 for this one because I feel that. Yeah, there's I think there'll be some quality matches on the show. Plus, there's a ladder match, which, always pretty much excites me every time, which leads me to the question, what match are you most looking forward to?
I mean, dude, there's a couple. I mean, like the ladies' North American ladder match is ideally going to be probably a killer. Hank and Tank versus Fraxiom. I mean, dude, I can't lose either way with whoever wins that one. And then obviously the main event, the triple threat, Oba, Trick, and Javon. I think that's going to be a killer. And even Ricky Saints against Stephen Page. Like I said, this is pretty much a stacked card.
Absolutely. Even though I said about the build for the women's fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship, it's the match I'm most looking forward to. I think Stephanie Vaquer has been exceptional as of late. Giulia's been killing it as well. Jordynne Grace on the scene now. She's going to make a splash. And Jaida Parker has risen above, and she's put herself in that main event picture for the women's division NXT, the best women's division in all of pro wrestling right now. So that'll be my selection. And let's dive in then with our first prediction today. And of course, like we said, we've got a kickoff match. And just to say to all those watching, thank you for watching us so far. I hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button. It helps the algorithms here on YouTube, and join in the comments as well with your predictions as we go through them on the show. So yeah, as we go into the kickoff then to begin things with, then the winner of this fatal 4-way tag team match, we're going to say Women's Championship opportunity for the tag team titles this Tuesday in NXT. Current champions are Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Of course, it could be Lia Valkyria and Bayley come Tuesday. And as we see the teams there, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. We've got Fatal Influences, Fallon Henley and JC Jane. We've got Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. And last but not least, we've got Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. I would say here, NXT, that if I'm being brutally honest, there's a case for every team that could win here, really. Obviously, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend have actually been on the main roster competing for these titles already at Crown Jewel last year. Fatal Influence, I mean, when you look at Fallon Henley and JC Jane, they've been there for a long time now in NXT. You'd feel that their step up is imminent at some point. Gigi Dolan as well being the same, but and as well as Tatum Paxley is their call-up coming up soon. And, of course, Roxanne Perez, the biggest name in NXT, arguably, who's not on the main show of any show this WrestleMania weekend, which is a crime in itself, teaming with Cora Jade. How do you see this playing out?
I mean, without trying to be horrible, I think Gigi and Tatum are probably the least likely to win this, because the other three, I honestly feel that this is a call-up match. Like, whoever wins this goes on to face for them tag team titles and then ends up on main roster. I mean, for me, I'm going to say, even though I think this is the wrong way to bring them up, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, I think, have got this in the bag. I think they win this. they win those tag team titles on Tuesday. Because spoiler if you haven't seen yesterday's WrestleMania predictions, because I think that Liv and Raquel are like retaining, and I think it's going to be them against each other on Tuesday. And I think this is how we get Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez on the main roster. It feels a little bit underwhelming for Roxanne Perez, to be honest, because like best female wrestler last year, had a killer showing in the Rumble, had a killer showing at the Elimination Chamber. And to bring her up in the tag team scene, almost like I said, seems underwhelming, but I just think this is their call-up moment.
The thing that's good, one thing that's really good with these 4 tag teams, though, shows that if WWE wants to, they can actually add some real strength and depth to their women's tag team division moving forward. If they call a couple of these teams up, and actually maybe it could be a focal point. In fact, there was a focal point at one point last year when Bianca and Jade had the titles, but it's kind of slipped a little bit away since. I think mainly just seeing the fact we had this gauntlet match recently on SmackDown where Bayley and Lara went through the whole SmackDown tag team division. It just one fell swoop. But here there's some incredible names, but I like your prediction of Roxanne and Cora mainly because Roxanne was the last one to get onto this show. It felt like everyone is a tight unit. Cora needs an apology. There's that thing of will they coexist? I know we've seen the storyline a lot in the past, but at the same time it feels like it would be a right fit, and like you say, they could go for the titles on Tuesday, win or lose or draw. I think a main roster call up for both of them is definitely going to happen. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Roxanne and Cora to pick up the win as well.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be against any of these teams winning, especially Gigi. I think Gigi has kind of lost her way in the last sort of 12 months since what was it, Toxic Attraction they would call it, Toxic something or other. Yeah. As soon as that all fell apart, she kind of just disappeared. And the fact that she's made a comeback, like I said, I wouldn't be against them doing it. I just think that, like I said, unless there's another way, unless they wait till the draft to bring up Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, I think this is just like a novel way to get them onto the main roster.
Absolutely. For me, Lash and Jakara are definitely getting caught up. Same with Roxanne and Cora. So it's just basically which of those two teams gets the win here. But I will go for Roxanne and Cora, just like yourself on this one. I think it just makes the most sense from that standpoint. Joe's in the house. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. Hope you're keeping well. So hello again, everyone. He joined us for WrestleMania predictions yesterday, which are available on the channel right now. And of course, we do have the NXT
this one won't be as long
right now. Sorry.
This one won't be as long.
No, this one will definitely not be as long. I'm pretty sure. I'm quite confident because we've already gone through the pre-show match. Let's go on to the main show. And let's kick things off then with the NXT Tag Team Championships. Fraxiom going against Hank and Tank, the match where NXT just cannot lose. His favorite tag teams are going against each other here. And I've got to say, I've got a soft spot for both of these tag teams as well. Fraxiom have been the team that's dominated the tag team division and been champions for the longest time now in NXT. Hank and Tank couldn't buy a win and were looking for themselves on the journey to stand and deliver. They've taken advice from teams from Raw, from SmackDown, Legends as well. And every time they were falling short, but they decided to go as themselves this past week in a gauntlet match on NXT, and they run the entire gauntlet. Again, probably not doing much for the NXT tag team division, but certainly helping the profile of Hank and Tank. And actually, I would say that it's actually better what they did here in NXT because of the fact that Hank and Tank have got such a bad losing streak. It almost just feels like they had one night where they struck lucky here, if you will, against these other teams. So it doesn't hurt them as badly as what it did with the women's gauntlet a couple of weeks ago. But of course, now they've got to go and take on Fraxiom. And Nathan Frazier has not been kind with his words backstage. Some could say it was motivation for Hank and Tank to win this gauntlet match. Is it going to be enough to get them to win the tag team titles at Stand and Deliver NXT?
I mean, look, like I said, either way, I can't lose with this one. I love Fraxiom. The fact that they're not on the Slammy Awards for Best Tag Team of the Year is criminal. Like, I think everyone's saying that they're the longest reigning champions. I think they've just overtaken, the Ascension's length of time as champion for one run. So I think the only thing they'd have, they've beaten someone's record. I don't know whose it is, but I know there are other. If they don't, I don't know, whatever it is. I know that there's, I think the longest reign they still haven't beaten, which I think they're about 100 and something days away from, which would put them through till August. But I'm sure they've beaten someone. There's a record they've broken for how long they've had these titles, and that's how well they've done with them. TV, though, makes me feel like we could be in for a title change here. And if anything, I mean, when we did the last predictions and they were going up against Josh Briggs and his tag team partner, and I was like, I could feel that these guys could lose these tag team titles here for this match. I feel there's much more chance of it happening this time. And like I said, I wouldn't be against Hank and Tech getting them. It's just a case of what do WWE want to do? Because, like I said, they're about 100 and something days away from being the longest reigning NXT champions of all time. I think combined days for Undisputed Era is like 364 days. I think that's the record they have to beat over 3 reigns. And the question is what do they do with Fraxiom if they lose these titles? The way that they portrayed it was that Nathan Frazier seems to be getting a bit heelish. Maybe there's some disconcern. Maybe like Fraxiom isn't okay. Maybe they break up. Or, like I said, they either keep them together for another 3 months. They lose these in August. They break the record for longest reigning tag team champions of all time. I don't know. It's very hard to call. I'm going to go and say that Hank and Tech win. I think that they put. Well, see, again, my mind is so split because like they've just gone through a gauntlet match, and they've been through 4 or 5 other teams, and they've gone through all that. They've got that ring wear from doing that match, so there is an excuse there that Fraxiom should win this, but I'm going to say Hank and Tech win this. I think it's about time. They've long overdue a title run, so I'm going to go with the new guys. I know it was a long, exaggerated answer there, but yeah, we got there in the end. I'm going to say Hank and Tech.
Sometimes we need that long exaggerated answer because, like you say, I'm a bit torn on this match as well. But the one thing I will say is I agree with you. I'm going Hank and Tank because it's a Cinderella story. Fraxiom have been long ready for a main roster call up. Axiom and Fraser both had singles matches on SmackDown in recent weeks. So I feel like they're flirting with the idea of introducing them to the WWE audience, or let's say the full main roster audience. So I think their time is coming where they're going to be showcased. I don't think a breakup's coming with Fraxiom anytime soon because I think that's just their shtick. Fraser's got a big mouth and Axiom kind of has to, well, he's put us in trouble again. Let's see if we can go out and we can pick up a W. And up to this point, they've done so. So the fact that they actually will go to probably a Raw or SmackDown, I'm going to say SmackDown probably in the draft. I feel that that could be a case that can keep them safe for now. They stay in NXT for another
division
year.
is super stacked if they get Fraxiom as well. Like, I think Raw needs a tag team, but geez, that's a stacked SmackDown tag team division.
Well, with a draft, I think they'll probably lose some of those teams.
Very
in
true.
the division. That's why I've got Fraxiom there.
Yeah,
but
good point.
We'll see what goes down. But yeah, Hank and Tank, it's a Cinderella story. That's the story that's gone into this Stand and Deliver show. Fraxiom are just the champion standing in the way. They've not really played any part in it. So to get the full fulfillment of that story, Hank and Tank need the win.
Yeah, like I said, I'm torn, but like I wouldn't be disappointed if Hank and Tank win, so I'm going to go with them.
Let's go for it. We've gone for Fraxiom for the last year, so let's go Stand and do something a bit different. Absolutely, something that literally I think is probably the most unpredictable match of the whole show.
Oh my god, yes.
Definitely guaranteed the new champion on this one. It is the North American Championship for the ladies, a 6-woman ladder match. We've got Ruca, Zaria, Izzy Dane, Thea, Lola Vice, and the inaugural champion who won this title in a ladder match, Kelani, Jordynne. I mean, they've all done qualifying matches to get here. The only real story going into this match, if we're being brutally honest, is the fact that Zaria and Ruca are kind of flirting with the idea of we're teammates, we're friends, but one of us is going to win. And Zaria's like, yeah, well, one of us, yeah, something like that. Otherwise, she's going to win. Is one of them going to win, or they're going to cancel each other out?
I think they cancel each other out. I mean, my answer has changed 3 times in the build of this match. Like initially, I thought Ruca is the right person for this. This is like when they just had Ruca, Zaria, Izzy Dame, and
Kelani
Jordynne, and I was like, Ruca, like Kelani Jordynne's already been North American champion. Ruca is about time that, I mean, this person is right to take this title off of and like to take this title and elevate it. But spoiler alert, Ruca's just won the Speed Championship, so I don't think we're going to get a second title on her anytime soon, even though the Speed title means absolute squat. But then they put Lola Vice on here, and I was like, oh my god, that's my pick. Lola Vice is the right person to win this North American Championship. And then Thea returned, and I'm like, oh my god, I want Thea to win this title. So my answer honestly has changed 3 times, and I don't know who to pick. I'm going for the latter 2, and I think it will be one of Lola Vice and Thea. I'm going to go with Lola because I think Lola's had more on-screen matches and she's been just in general been on TV more, had more mic time and stuff like that. I think Thea Howe, I think it's just a little bit too soon, but I would imagine that this is going to be her scene going forward in NXT.
Do you know what? Me and you must be doing this too much together with podcasts because we think so alike, and this is
Yeah.
dangerous because, like, up until like you, let's just do the symmetry quickly. When you had those first four names, like, well, Kelani John's been there and done it before. She was inaugural champion.
Yeah.
If the heel run's coming, makes more sense for her to lose this time. Zaria and Ruca, like when it was those with Izzy Dane, politely Izzy Dane. Great, you're in the match. Really pleased you stand and deliver. I don't see you winning. I feel she's like the least likely to win of all six women. Zaria and Sol Ruca at that time, I was like, well, Sol Ruca is going to be my pick. That can lead to a Zaria heel turn. Boom, off we go into the new season of spring breaking. But then, like you said, we got to NXT this past week, and then Lola Vice was there. I was like, that's the one because it's like it's one of those established names that's gone for the women's championship, not really gone for the North American, and it's like that's a perfect placement for her to go and win it. And then Thea Howe came in with Eddie Edwards' old theme music, and I was just like,
Great, by the way.
It's a freaking awesome tune, to be fair, when she comes out to the ring. The pop from the crowd as well. The fact that she pretty destroyed Carmen Petrovic as well. Got the Kimura lock in there as well. And I just put me thinking, could really see, like, you know, Indy Hartwell won the women's championship a couple of years ago on Stand and Deliver. No one saw it coming, and it was like a big wall moment, and everyone loved it. I kind of feel
you say that when we did predictions, I picked Indy Hartwell for that because I was like, nah, Indy Hartwell is my secret dark horse for this one.
To be fair, that's actually very true. That is very true. You went for it, but I didn't hear it for many other quarters between that time. And like, I mean, just thinks, could we get that again? Because Thea Howe is that one because she's so popular with the NXT crowd. I think Lola Vice is the right choice, but I think Thea Howe is the popular choice. And I don't know. Look, I'll be honest with you. Go on.
Thea Howe licked the title, which means she technically touched it, which means if you you know what happens if you touch the title, you don't win it on the pay-per-view. She licked it, which means you don't get it.
There you go. Less licking, Thea. That's what you need to do. Look, I'll be honest, coming onto this podcast, Lola Vice was and technically is my prediction, but we've been the same the whole way through so far. So as this is a ladder match and literally can go either way, I'm gonna have a bit of fun. Thea Howe will be my pick.
I'm glad someone. Do you know what I mean? I think it's only fair that one of us picked like one and the other. Do you know what I mean? I'd be happy for either of them to win it. I think it makes most sense for them. Thea Howe just like has just been this favorite that just seems to be like a little fluff ball of energy, and she just like the crowd love her. She gets them hyped, and would love nothing more than to see her be North American champion.
Certainly, indeed. Let's see how it'll play out, and I think that match will actually kick off Stand and Deliver, which I think will be a great way to kick off the show. So far we've talked about new champions with the last couple of matches, all matches really, and number one contenders, potentially new tag team champions, definitely a new women's North American champion. Someone that's actually just recently won his first championship in NXT is one Ricky Saints. Of course, he'd not been in NXT very long. I think it's the fastest time that someone has come into the company and won a championship in NXT. Previously, before that, it was Ethan Page, funnily enough, who'd only won 6 weeks and won the NXT championship. Ethan Page has been a guy that's sort of done this dance before. Maybe a sense of jealousy with Ricky Saints coming in, being the new flavor of the month from that company, coming to NXT and winning a title. But they've not really played into that story too much, which I think for me is a bit of a shame because I think we could have had more of a build with these two. However, what I will say is that Ricky Saints won this title, and immediately Ethan Page made himself pretty well known pretty quickly, attacking Ricky Saints from behind afterwards, ruining the moment, you could say, for Ricky Saints as well. Ethan Page then this week has crowned himself the number one contender by winning a fatal four-way. I believe Lexus King, Eddie Thorpe, and Wesley with the other people in there. I was down for a five-way personally. I was all open to just going for all multi-man matches because I thought it would be awesome. But still, this match does make the most sense, really. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page. There's not too much more I need to really say on it, so I'm going to let you do all the talking in a second. I'm just going to give my prediction. Ricky Saints to pick up the victory. I think Ethan Page is going Raw or SmackDown in the draft.
Oh, dude, I would love nothing more than to see Ethan Page on the main roster. We've said for ages that he's main roster ready. He always has been. His mic work alone was main roster ready. This just, like I said, it almost feels like this is just a giant farewell for Ethan Page. The quality that these two should be able to put on should be outstanding. This should be possibly one of the dark horses for best match of the weekend. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. You're right as well, though. Ricky Saints has just won that title. Very unlikely that he'll lose it in what is probably his second, maybe third title defense. I can't remember how many he's had since. So yeah, I'm the same dude. I'm going Ricky Saints to retain. And yeah, like I said, fingers crossed. Hopefully Ethan Page will be on the main roster within the next few months.
I mean, he's done everything there is to do. He's been NXT champion. He's held that title for a lengthy time. He's taken all comers, led PLEs, been in main events. He's been in the Iron Survivor Challenge. Like there's not really much more for the guy to do. So he's had a blood feud as well with Javon Evans. So yeah, I think he's faced almost everybody as well. So it's time for that call up. So Ricky Saints is the last one on the list, and I think that yeah, it could be. Could be adios to Ethan Page. All ego could be going to Raw, SmackDown, post, stand, and deliver. But Ricky Saints will carry on a bright future in NXT. We'll move on in the meantime then, and we will be talking about a six-man tag team match of the D'Angelo family going against Dark State. This massive brawl we had this past week on NXT going through the parking lot was the call by Stacks. Of course, Tony D'Angelo made the save at the end of this because it was going not in the favor of the D'Angelo family. Yeah, Tony said we do things our way, with the business way. We have the six-man tag at stand deliver. I've been fixing the business, and don't cross me anymore. I feel like this feels inevitable where it's going to go, but I think before we get there, I think we need to talk a bit about Dark State. How have been your impression of Dark State so far?
Look, I'm glad that they finally actually got some in-ring action, but it's the same anytime they try and bring in a new faction and they make them these, do you know what I mean, these bad guys that just want to ruin the show, but yet they're under contract to their wrestlers, and it never really plays too well. And like the first couple of weeks, oh yeah, with these real bad guys, we've attacked, what is his name? Who's the manager guy?
Robert Stone.
They attacked Robert Stone, and I'm like, yeah, that's devastating. You've really set a precedent and set a statement by attacking Robert Stone of all people. There's hopefully a bigger payoff for them. Like me personally, I've told you this before. I'm going to say it here because last time I actually forgot to say it. I have a feeling that if anyone is going to be a leader of Dark State, Trick Williams has to be that guy. He's on the verge of being heel again, and if you put him as a lead, like every time we've seen him interact with the main event scene, Trick Williams seems to be the guy that gets off the lightest and never ever really suffers as much as everyone else. And I think they need someone, because at the minute I think they're just kind of existing. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a great pay-per-view debut for them to get them on the card. But I think, like I said, I think the story isn't necessarily so much about the family versus Dark State. The story is about Channing Stacks Lorenzo sort of going behind Tony D'Angelo's back, and there's obviously a story with that's going to play out going forward. I've got a feeling that it will probably end up leading to D'Angelo being kicked out of the family, which will then be his main roster call-up, and then Channing takes over as leader of the family in NXT for the foreseeable future. So this is almost like filler. So in terms of these guys, like I said, they need some direction. They need mouthpiece, because great, they're four wrestlers. I'm not particularly sold on one of them at the minute. I think through like the three we've seen in action, I think two of them are okay. One of them I'm a bit not too sure on. So hopefully we get a better display out of that person this time around. I forget the name. But again, this just seems like a bit of filler, really. If anything, this is the second card match for me. It just gives me that vibe.
Yeah, it does gives me that vibe as well. This is somewhere early in the card. I don't think it's going to be one of those matches that I'm most excited for. Probably least excited for, I'm being brutally honest, when it comes to this one. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I love your suggestion about Trick Williams being the leader of the group. I thought that was a really fascinating insight. I can't believe it took us weeks to actually get it on air for everybody to listen to as well. But at the same time, I think it would be a great way to lead it going forward. And I do think that whether it's Trick or it's someone else, Dark State need something right now, because they, as a group, for me, I understand the idea of the chaos idea, but it's not really connecting with me. They need something more to establish themselves in NXT for me right now. And like you say, I think the bigger story is Stacks and it is Tony D. And I agree with you that Tony D is getting kicked out of this group after this team loses here at Stand and Deliver. Tony D's future is on a Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, we've not. The thing is with Dark State as well, they haven't really kind of defined like who the tag team is, who the mid card guy is, who the main event guy is. They're kind of just existing as four guys in a minute, and you either going forward have to, like I said, establish a mouthpiece or give them a mouthpiece. Will not necessarily be Trick Williams, could be a manager, for example, but they have the potential to go on like an undisputed era run and just like hold all the gold. That's down to booking and creative and whether they can come across as good as the Undisputed Era. Probably not, because Undisputed Era is like one of the greatest NXT factions ever. So there's a lot to live up to there. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I think this is just like I said, it's a story this is filler for a bigger story outside of NXT, like Stand and Deliver for Tony D'Angelo and Chad and Sex Lorenzo going forward.
Certainly is indeed, and Dark State will benefit with it with picking up another victory on NXT. So that's something that certainly will do them favours as well, of course, after winning their debut six-man tag a couple of weeks ago. To speak, Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast is in the house. Says, love me some NXT. Glad I caught the stream live. How are we doing for this? We're doing very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and hope you are doing well as well. And he still thinks as well that Trick may beat the leader as well, especially seeing, because I see him winning the main event. Champion of a heel faction behind him could be money. That makes a lot of sense indeed. We're giving our pick on that triple threat in a very short time from now. We've got 2 matches to go. So let's dive into the next match that we'll do, which will be for the Women's NXT Championship. Stephanie Vaquer, the champion, going against the former champion Giulia, Jaida Parker, and of course, new NXT superstar Jordynne Grace, who's of course on the roster full time now, not an TNA wrestler, just popping in on occasion. This is a fun one. Obviously, it's technically 2 feuds that have been thrown together. Vaquer and Giulia. Obviously, Parker and Grace have been feuding also. Vaquer was going to choose one of Parker or Grace to face, Stand and Deliver. Giulia made the return, technically turned heel in the process as well by attacking Stephanie Vaquer, and Stephanie did a blatant Oscar and said, I want all of them at Stand and Deliver. So, yeah, we've got ourselves a fatal 4-way. And all I'll say is, first off, for now, someone's getting a call up to the main roster early, because all these names haven't really been here that long. And it feels that 1 or 2 of these, I think, have been shot put into this position very, very quickly. I'll give my answers who I think in a couple of moments. But first, I think, Steve, get your thoughts on this fatal 4-way.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Giulia return's a bit of a sour note, because it was like, why did you rush the champion versus champion match just for her to return 2-3 weeks later, and then for Stephanie to vacate the North American Championship? And don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Stephanie's NXT champion. Like, she is my favorite NXT female wrestler at the minute. Like, the fact that she's got the championship, and obviously they've been piling out all the promo stuff this week where she's gone back to Chile and she gave her father replicas of both the championships she won. It's really wholesome. She is the top baby face at the minute. But
yeah,
the fact that you've put her in there with, I would almost say 3 heels, because Jaida Parker is a heel 100%. Giulia's come back and attacked Stephanie, which is giving like heel-ish vibes. And Jordynne Grace's promos have recently been heel-ish. So it's almost like a 3-on-1 here. And we like Stephanie Vaquer's outnumbered in terms of like the ratio of heels to faces. But I still think Vaquer walks out with this title. I think that you're not going to lose your title in your second defense. I think it'd just be silly that they've taken, like, I think it was silly for Giulia to lose the title, to be fair, but I don't think they'd make that same mistake twice. And I believe Stephanie Vaquer walks away from Stand and Deliver with the championship still. If I was to put money on one of these other 3 coming up, I'd have to say Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace has been main roster ready since before she even joined the company. So, and we all said it's kind of a bit lackluster, but then I don't know, Jordynne Grace, I think, would be the kind of person that would want to win that NXT Women's Championship because it has a lineage, it has a history. She'd want to be a part of that before she then came up to the main roster. So then if it isn't Jordynne Grace, I'd say Jaida Parker, because I think Jaida Parker, in terms of character work, is ready for main roster.
Jaida Parker's definitely ready for main roster of character work, and I absolutely loved the video package for her this week on NXT, where it really dive into the person, the character, all about her. If anything, maybe want to support her for this show. Actually, was really, really on board with it. But Jordynne Grace, to me, I think she's in NXT for the long haul. I don't think she's going about. I agree with you. She probably wants to win those titles before she gets the call up. For me, it's Giulia that's going to get that call up. I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to retain. I think that I think it's one of those moments that Sean had plans of how things were going to go, and then he heard what's going to happen after WrestleMania. Giulia's ready. Let's call her up. She's coming to a Raw or SmackDown. She's going to make, headwaves and be one of the top talents over the next 12 months in Raw and SmackDown. So for that reason, they'd shuffle things around. And I think then it's also to get everyone on the card to rush a Vaquer versus Giulia match, which you imagine would have been a one-on-one stand and deliver match otherwise. So that's my reasoning of why I think it's happening and why it's happened so soon and sudden. I think Vaquer retains. I think Giulia's getting a call up. Parker could also get the call up, but if she's going into that mid-card title picture at the moment. And Jordynne Grace, I think, will be the future challenger for Stephanie Vaquer, probably spring breaking or battleground, whatever the next PLE will be for NXT after this.
Yeah, I mean, Jaida Parker in the mid-card scene on the main roster seems pretty perfect to me because I mean, looking at the champions, you've got Lyra Valkyria, who, by the looks of it, is going to end up facing Bayley. Chelsea Green is supposed to be a heel, but, everyone just loves her too much anyway. So the only thing I'd say with Jaida Parker, if she came up, don't get me wrong, she would be perfect for the mid-card scene at the minute. It's a way to establish herself as a name, get her a championship run, and then build her up. I just don't think there's anything for her straight away as soon as she comes up. So I'm kind of like, do you know what I mean, going against what I just said, but I agree with what you said. So, I mean, Giulia going up again, it feels kind of rushed, and I don't want it to be a case of that they bring her up and they have nothing for her, and she ends up being a tag team wrestler with, I don't know, Kairi Sane for the next year. I don't know, because obviously they had that Stardom heritage. So that's the only thing I'd worry about with Giulia. So hopefully, as long as the creatives here, I'm sure it will all be fine.
Sure, it would be as well. You never know. It could be also a mid-card title on the opposite show. If you ever say Jaida on Raw, Giulia on SmackDown, for example, so all those things could be the way it could go down. But I have to wait and see what happens. It's fun to speculate about stand and deliver season. We've got about 4 to 6 call-ups already on this show, and we're not even talked about the main event. Kyle Winhouse then continues to say that Stephanie retaining here, maybe get a rematch with Giulia after the PLE one-on-one. I mean, I would not be against that. I think we need another one-on-one match between these two before officially one would go away.
It'll be the main event Tuesday night.
Interesting. Who takes the fall, by the way, that four-way? Parker?
I think it has to be Parker because Giulia's been champion. Jordynne Grace is a bigger name. I think Jaida Parker can take a loss and it's not going to do any damage for her. I think the other two would. But then again, Giulia's lost, so there's no reason why Giulia couldn't take it. But I think if you want to do that rematch, it has to be Jaida Parker.
Kyle says, interesting. I don't see anyone getting called up quite yet, but maybe we could be right. Believes that only Roxanne and Cora will be the ones getting the official call up, which is 2 other names we have actually suggested.
Yeah, this is all. We're not talking about Monday and Monday after Raw. That's Raw after Raw after WrestleMania and SmackDown after WrestleMania. We're talking draft time whenever they do that. There's no way they're gonna bang out Aleister Black's debut on Friday and 3 call ups. It's all draft related stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, draft related. Of course, draft I believe is going to happen around end of April, maybe start of May, probably between now and Backlash, somewhere in that bracket. Usually is when it does happen. But Kyle also agrees that Jaida takes the pinfall.
Definitely.
And welcome Maggie in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well. Right then, let's go then with the NXT main event, shall we then? The triple threat then for the NXT Championship. Oba Femi defending against Trick Williams and, of course, Javon Evans. This one should be a fun one. As Booker T would like to say, no bread, no water, just meat. Oba Femi has been the ruler. I probably butchered that. Sorry, Booker. Oba Femi has been a dominant NXT champion. Trick has been leading the brand for the last 12 months, and Javon Evans is the upstart looking to be the Trick Williams of last year, and even accused Trick Williams of being the Carmelo Hayes of last year, which is quite interesting and fun in itself. Javon Evans has actually looked quite strong in this. We've had obviously Dark State get involved in a number of occasions with these 3 guys, and Javon Evans has usually benefited by taking out Oba Femi on a couple of occasions, but has been involved in beatdowns from the group. Same with Oba as well. Trick has had beatdowns, but at the same time probably is, like you said, had the lighter of the attacks area, which I think is what led you to that prediction. He could perhaps maybe have Dark State in the back pocket. But would that then mean that he would be winning the NXT Championship for you, stand and deliver? And what could that mean for the fallout?
I'm going to say no. I think that, unfortunately, Javon is in this to take the pin because I think the long-term story is still Trick trying to get that World Championship back. and I think it's probably going to play out for most of the year because I don't see as much as again Trick is ready for main roster. I think he has if they do put him with Dark State, he's going to be there for a foreseeable amount of time just so he can help establish Dark State before he gets his call up. Maybe in that turn he does win. But for me, I'm still going my fantasy booking for Oba Femi. He's NXT champion until the Rumble. He comes in at the Rumble. He wins men's Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania to become world champion. Some point has to do it. Someone has to debut in the Rumble, win the thing, and go on to WrestleMania to become world champion. And why not Oba Femi, man? The guy is so over, man. His entrance alone just is on Ultimate Warrior levels for me. It gets you gassed and ready for what about this guy's about to do. Physically dominating in ring, just a superb character. His mic work. He's a legitimate Nigerian, instead of with these fake Nigerians that we get over the years that just have Nigerian heritage. He legitimately is from Lagos, Nigeria. So, he just has everything about him. And I cannot wait to see this guy on the main roster. Give me Oba Femi versus Gunther. Give me Oba Femi versus Roman Reigns. Give me Oba Femi versus The Rock. I want to see him face everyone. But back to today and not the future and stand and deliver. Yeah, I don't know. Trick is a possibility, but I think Oba Femi retains for me. I think that if you're going to do the whole Dark State Trick Williams thing, that is it could be this way. I don't know, man. There's so many variables with it, and I'm going to just say Oba Femi because I think there's a longer story to tell with Trick Williams and Oba Femi.
Yeah, that's the thing for me as well. I feel like this feels like it can't be done. We still not really had a one-on-one match between these two. So even though Oba says if I retain this is done, it's like, well, actually no, because we've not had the one-on-one match. So this for me almost feels like I'm really happy Javon's in this spot, and I think his promos have improved. I think he's shown that he belongs in this picture, but at the same time, he's still only 20 years old. He's going to be the one taking the pinfall, I think, in this match, and I think that will lead to seeing what we'll get moving forward. But I think Oba versus Trick has to be the direction after this. The thing that I like with you saying with Dark State is that it would solidify Trick as a heel. Trick is going in that direction, and I feel that we are foreshadowing the future, I think, for what will be for Trick Williams to get him turning heel now, because he was the face of NXT, had the great entrance and everything, and it still is over with the crowd right now. But if he turns heel and is with this group, when he breaks away from the group and gets called up to the main roster, I think he could end up being aligned with one of his old friends that he's been accused of being now, and that's Carmelo Hayes, who is flirting with the idea of a tag team right now. Melo don't Miz, but I think that actually Melo will miss with the Miz, because I think it's actually just seeing that tag team scene could work for me. I could win tag team gold. What better to do it than someone that actually worked really, really well with me in the past? Yeah, he was my hype man. He's proven himself to be someone that could be on my level. Trick Williams up become now to the main rosters. I think Carmelo and Trick will be reunited when they eventually are on the main roster together, perhaps on SmackDown, maybe on Raw. We'll have to wait and see what it'll be at the time. But I think, like you say, there's still a bit of time before Trick gets that call up. And I think that the Melo Don't Miss thing can play out for a few months. Therefore, I think Trick and Oba can play out for a few months. And if Dark State are involved with it as well, all the better. I want Trick Williams to win. I think it's the more interesting direction to go, especially if Dark State are with him as well. And it just gets a reveal on this. But you don't bet against Oba Femi. Do you know what I mean? And as well, when it comes to call-ups to main rosters and stuff like that, look, Oba could go up now. There's no reason why he couldn't go up now if they wanted to. You never know what WWE's thinking. We don't always get all these predictions correct, so we'll have to wait and see. But as Oba says he's done with it, and I'm just going to be different, I will say Trick Williams is going to win here.
You could take John Cena out the main event of WrestleMania and put Oba Femi in there, and I'd be well content. But look, dude, I'm glad you picked Trick Williams. I'm glad that we're different on a couple of matches. It'd be too boring if we said the same things, I suppose. I mean, yours probably does make more sense. I'm just going on the fact that Oba Femi's kind of my guy at the minute. He's like my favorite NXT wrestler. I've genuinely been excited to see in a long while, apart from obviously like Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, but obviously those guys have got heritage. I'm talking about someone new in NXT that I'm like, this is the guy I want to see, or this is the guy I want to see succeed. And like you said, the one-on-one match with Trick Williams is probably the right time for that title to drop. And I said, Javon purely in this for the pinfall, which isn't, again, a bad thing. Javon can take a pinfall. He's 20 years old, man. The guy who's, do you know what I mean? Been in the main event of NXT's biggest pay-per-view of the year, Stand and Deliver, because it's what it is. It is their biggest pay-per-view of the year. This is just more like ammo for him, man. This is more just showing how much that the company have high hopes for him going forward. So, you know what I mean? He's got nothing to lose with this match. If anything, it's just going to be a case to be more bouncy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Joanna Evans will win the North American Championship at some point in 2025. Yeah. I've got to be honest though with you. I said Trick Williams' name. I've been going backwards and forwards with this all day of who I think will win this match. And as soon as I said Trick Williams, I was like, no, I want to say Oba Femi, really. I kind of want to agree with you. The thing is, it's hard to bet against Oba Femi. It's hard to bet. And the thing is, Trick is will be more of he's the ruler, and Trick is more of a heel if he can't get the job done here and gets Dark State afterwards.
The only reason why I'm going to say it, do you know, I just thought this is another logical reason, is that we already have a new North American Women's Champion. We already have new tag team champions. Like there isn't normally that many title changes, and I think that the fact that you're already getting a new North American Women's Champion and the new tag team champions, I don't think, like I said, that's why I don't think they're going to change either of the top titles. Ricky Saints isn't losing, and yeah, then we're out of titles for NXT at that point. So I just don't think we'll get that many title changes on this show.
No, and I think you're right. So yeah, I think our only real difference has to be the ladder match, unfortunately. So I'm going to go on your side. I think Oba Femi has to be the pick just for now.
Yeah,
I think it plays more into Trick's character, moving out, stand and deliver. Otherwise, Trick has no reason to be heel actually going afterwards more, unless he has the group unveiled on the night. But
it's true.
I just think the fact that they're doing other stuff on the show as well may just cancel it out for this show, and maybe it has to come at a later date. We'll wait and see. Who knows? It's going to be interesting one way or another. But that's our predictions anyway for NXT's Stand and Deliver. And NXT, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up the video today?
No, dude, always a pleasure. Like I said, we're looking forward to this one a little bit more just because, like I said, I think in a whole, Stand and Deliver's just had a generally better build across the line. I know obviously it's half as many matches as WrestleMania, but like, I'm looking forward to every match at Stand and Deliver, whereas there is a couple at WrestleMania I could just not be bothered either way. So, I mean, I think that's a massive plus. But again, it's just going to be a busy weekend of wrestling. The fact that, like, I've taken Saturday off so I can watch Stand and Deliver at a normal time, and then I'm going to have to watch WrestleMania Night 1 and then go into Night 2, and I'm just like, it's going to be a long weekend, but it should be really good. Should be a really good weekend of wrestling.
Absolutely, so much on offer, and of course it starts then with the SmackDown as well. Quick question.
Go on.
You never know if it'll be a quick answer to this one because we don't know who's in it. Who's your pick for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner this year?
Alice, no, I was going to say Alice, but Alistair Black's coming back next Friday. Is it across both shows?
Yes. So, who's not on WrestleMania basically is going to be in this Battle Royal.
Solo Sikoa.
Nice. I like that pick. I like that pick a lot because he's currently not listed. And even if he ends up in a match at WrestleMania, then it could actually be built off of that match. Yeah, they could do. I mean, at this moment, Randy Orton could be in the Battle Royal, to be honest, because he's not currently listed for a match at WrestleMania. So for that reason, I'm going to say Randy Orton.
Hey.
There you go. A little bit of extra bonus content for you there. But if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well, all that good stuff. And while we're at it, we did make mention of it, so why not go and check out, if you haven't already, our WrestleMania match card and predictions already available on the channel in podcast format as well. It's a long one, but I tell you what, it's well worth your time. It'll get you hyped for WrestleMania as well.
By all means, go check it out and check out the debate we have about Night 1 main event, because honestly, we couldn't have debated it any better. The results and the picks were fantastic. Go and check that out for that alone. Otherwise, keep an eye on TikTok, because instead of you going and watch a 2-hour show, if you like, go to TikTok, and you and me will be probably dropping shorter versions of predictions for the weekend.
Certainly will be indeed. So yeah, that's something another place to be as well. TikTok, you can follow SCW the Wrestling Channel and NXT as well. Let's get those follows up and yeah, check out the content that's already on those platforms. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves and each other and enjoy Stand and Deliver. We're on the way to WrestleMania weekend, and don't worry, there could be more content dropping on this channel before that Stand and Deliver show. So keep an eye, subscribe, and have that bell turned on for more notifications for when future content drops on this channel. All the best. Thanks for watching. See you for the next one.